The Bridge. Verses in honor of Master Rennyo Shonen by Gansen, John Welch. How can we cross the raging river of samsara to reach the far shore of nirvana without true teachers who have kindness, wisdom, knowledge, insight, and compassion? We are ignorant, foolish beings beset by blind passions. We think that more is less and are unable to see, hear, or comprehend clearly the Dharma that will ultimately free us from all suffering and finally bring us to Amida Buddha's Pure Land and teach us to grasp Amida's helping hand. If we cling to Amida Tathagata's sleeve and open our minds and hearts to receive Amida's supreme gift of faith or shinjin, we will finally begin to fully realize the meaning of the words of the wise Amida Dharma Masters, who compassionately explain Amida's unsurpassable other power, that is the only power, definitely not self-power, that can completely and finally free us all from samsara and securely transport us to nirvana. Yuienbo stresses the importance of relying on a true teacher to safely bring us to a correct understanding of the necessity of entrusting to Amida's other power, as only he can free us finally and completely and carry us with complete certainty into Sukhavati. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you, Amida Buddha. Homage to Amida Buddha. I take refuge in Amida Buddha. The above verses were inspired by the following passages from the letters of Master Rennyo Shonen of Fumi, Gobanshu. Fascicle 1. For some questions and answers. Indeed, I consider these questions to be of the utmost importance for our tradition. From the beginning, this school has taught that, with the awakening of the one-thought moment of faith, the cause of birth is completed in ordinary life. After we have understood that it is through the unfolding of past good that we hear and realize in the midst of ordinary life that Amida Tathagata's primal vow saves us, we understand that it is not by our own power, but through the gift of other power, the wisdom of the Buddha, that we become aware of how Amida's primal vow came to be. This is the meaning of completing the cause of birth in ordinary life. Thus, completing the cause of birth in ordinary life is a state of mind in which we have heard and fully understood this principle and are convinced that birth is assured. We refer to it as with the awakening of the one-thought moment, joining the company of those whose birth is truly settled, completing the cause of birth in ordinary life, and immediately attaining birth in the Pure Land, and dwelling in a state of non-retrogression. 5. On pilgrimage in the snow. The point is to keep the matter of other power faith firmly in mind. Beyond that, you should just say the Nimbutsu, walking, standing, sitting and lying down, in gratitude for Amida Buddha's benevolence. With this understanding, the birth that is to come in the Pure Land is assured. In the fullness of this joy, go to the temples of the priests who are your teachers, and offer some tangible expression of your gratitude. One who does this is to be declared a person of faith, who has fully understood the principles of our tradition. Respectfully, Bunmai 5, 1473, 2.8. 6. On drowsiness. I don't know why, but recently this summer I have been particularly subject to drowsiness, and when I consider why I should be so lethargic, I feel without a doubt that the moment of death leading to birth in the Pure Land may be close at hand. This thought makes me sad, and I feel in particular the sorrow of parting, and yet to this very day I have prepared myself with no lack of care, thinking that the time of birth might be imminent. All I continually long for in this regard is to day and night is that, say, after my death there will be no regression in those among the visitors to this temple whose faith is decisively settled. As things now stand, there should be no difficulties if I die, but each of you is particularly lax in your thinking in regard to birth. As long as you live, you should be as I have described. I am altogether dissatisfied with what each of you has understood. In this life, even tomorrow is uncertain. And no matter what we say, nothing is to any avail when life ends. If our doubts are not clearly dispelled during this life, we will surely be filled with regret. I hope that you will bear this in mind. Respectfully, this is entrusted to those who assembled on the other side of the sliding doors. In the years to come, please take it out and read it. Written on the 25th day of the 4th month, Bunmai 5, 1473. 11. On lightning and morning dew. On deep contemplation we realize that the pleasures of human life last only as long as a flash of lightning or the morning dew, a dream or an illusion. Even if we enjoy a life of pomp and glory and can do as we wish, this is only a matter of some 50 to 100 years. If the wind of impermanence were to come even now and summon us, would we not suffer illness of one kind or another and die? And indeed, at the time of death, no part of either the family or the wealth on which we have depended for so long can accompany us. Thus, all alone, we must cross the great river of the three currents, at the end of the mountain path that we take after death. Let us realize then that what we should earnestly aspire to is birth in the Pure Land, in the afterlife. That the one we should rely upon is Amida Tathagata, and that the place to which we go after faith is decisively settled is the Pure Land of serene sustenance. These days, however, the priests in this region who are Nembutsu people are seriously at variance with the Buddha Dharma. That is, they call followers from whom they receive donations good disciples, and speak of them as people of faith. This is a serious error. Also, the disciples think that if they just bring an abundance of things to the priests, they will be saved by the priest's power, even if their own power is insufficient. This too is an error, and so between the priests and their followers there is not a modicum of understanding of our tradition's faith. This is indeed deplorable. Without a doubt, neither priests nor disciples will be born in the land of utmost bliss. They will fall in vain into hell. Even though we lament this, we cannot lament deeply enough. Though we grieve, we should grieve more deeply. From now on, therefore, the priests should seek out those who fully know the details of the great faith of other power. Let their faith be decisively settled, and then teach the essentials of that faith to their disciples. Together, they will surely attain the birth that is to come in the Pure Land, which is the most important matter. Respectfully, Bunmai 5, 1473, the middle of the 9th month. 12. The Choshoji's past. Now, what is the purpose of monthly meetings in our sect? Lay people lacking wisdom spend their days and nights in vain. Their lives pass by meaninglessly, and in the end, they fall into the three evil paths. The meetings are occasions when, even if only once a month, just those who practice the Nembutsu should at least gather in the meeting place and discuss their own faith and the faith of others. Recently, however, because matters of faith are never discussed in terms of right and wrong, the situation is deplorable beyond words. In conclusion, there must definitely be discussions of faith from now on among those at the meetings, for this is how we are to attain birth in the true and real land of utmost bliss. Respectfully, Bunmai 5, 1473, end of the 9th month. Fascicle 2, 4, on severing crosswise the 5 evil courses. Question. The reason why the primal vow of Amida Tathagata is said to be all-surpassing is that it is the supreme vow made for the sake of ordinary beings like ourselves who, belonging to the defiled world of the last Dharma age, commit evil and lack good. Yet we have no clear understanding as to how we should conceive of this, and how we should entrust ourselves to Amida in order to be born in the Pure Land. Please tell us about this in detail. Answer. Sentient beings living now in the last Dharma age should simply entrust themselves exclusively to Amida Tathagata, even though they do not rely on other Buddhas and Bodhisattvas as well. The Buddha has vowed with great mercy and great compassion that, however deep their evil karma may be, he will save those who single-heartedly and steadfastly take refuge in one Buddha, Amida. Sending forth the great light of his compassion, he receives them within that light. Hence the Contemplation Sutra teaches, the light shines throughout the worlds of the 10 directions, and sentient beings mindful of the Buddha are embraced, never to be abandoned. Because of this, the way that will surely lead us to the evil courses, the 5 paths or the 6 paths, is closed off through the inconceivable working of Amida Tathagata's vow. How this comes about is explained in the larger sutra. Quote, one severs crosswise the 5 evil courses, and the evil courses close off of themselves. End quote. Therefore, however much we may fear that we are going to fall into hell, when we entrust ourselves without a single thought of doubt to the Tathagata's vow, those of us who are received into Amida Tathagata's embracing light will not fall into hell through our designing, but are certain to go to the land of utmost bliss. When this has become clear to us, since it is we who receive the immeasurable benevolence of the Tathagata's great compassion, all we can do, day and night, morning and evening, is to say the Nembutsu in gratitude for the Buddha's benevolence, repeating the name at all times. This is precisely what it is to have attained true and real faith. Respectfully, in the 6th year of Bunmai, 1474, the evening of the 15th day of the 2nd month, remembering the day long ago when the great sage, the world-honored one, passed into nirvana. Beneath the lamp, rubbing my weakening eyes, I finished blackening my brush, aged 60. Namo Amida Butsu.